This is the Thriving Artist Podcast with Andrea Fleming, where we talk about how to go from surviving as an artist to thriving as an artist. Let's go.
Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about business mindset, which is so important for artists. Y'all think it's not important. You think that you're just here to be an artist and that's it. But that's not true, because we live in a capitalist society and we need to know how to make money. We need to know how to sell our product, which is our art. So, talking about business mindset. Before we get into this, I have to say, like, comment, and subscribe, review on the podcast, leave me a rating, whatever it is. But most importantly, I would love to just get feedback from you. What do you like about these episodes? What are you enjoying hearing that you want to hear more of? What is it that you want to hear and that you want to talk more about? And maybe even what kind of people do you want to hear from? Because I love doing interviews on here. So far, we've had one, but my plan is to do a lot more. In fact, when I first thought about doing our YouTube channel and a podcast, that was what I wanted to do. I just wanted to interview people and hear their experiences and hear how they navigated the artist world. But I ended up becoming a coach before I actually made my podcast some years ago, and I just started offering this. So it's going to be like a combo thing. So what kind of interviews do you want to hear? I have some ideas, but you let me know. Okay. So talking about business mindset. This is so important. As I said before, for some reason, we as artists think that we are immune to being a part of a capitalist world, and that's just not true. We have to also survive. And so we have to get out of the mindset that we're just artists. We have to get out of the mindset that business is not for us and selling is not for us and whatever else the other thoughts are. I feel like those are the main two thoughts, is like, business is not for me, I'm not that kind of person, or I'm just an artist, I'm here to express myself. We have to get out of that mindset, or we're not actually going to have the means to share our work with other people, right? Even if you decided, okay, I don't have to make money from my art, you still have to have time to actually make art and share your art, which is kind of hard to do if you are busting your ass trying to make money in a full-time job that doesn't pay you very well, right? So, and this is like the only skill you have. So either way, you have to get out of the mindset that you are just an artist. And for me, it really helped when I started to think of myself as a business person. It helped me to start thinking of my art as a product and showing up and presenting my work as if I'm selling it to people and they wanted to make a value exchange with me. That really helped me to actually become more successful as an artist and actually to make me a better craftsperson. So I think either way, it's helpful for you to think about this because it'll make you a better artist. So some ways that I started to think about this that were really, really helpful was when you are a professional artist, you are automatically a business person. And that, I mean, that's just kind of true. You can't really escape it because, like I said, you have to exchange your art for money. So you have to be able to sell yourself as an artist. That's just the way it is. Even if you want to be hired, I'm in theater. I do commercials and other things, but most of what I do is in theater. And it's not like I just get hired once and then I work forever. Like, I have to keep auditioning over and over and over, which most of you probably are the same way. Like, whether you just sing or you play an instrument or you dance or you do concerts, whatever it is, you probably have to put yourself out there over and over and have to be reevaluated over and over about whether someone's going to make it a value exchange, unless you're a celebrity and you're a big name, which I don't know if you'll be listening to this podcast, but even some celebrities, like, I remember when I first moved to New York and I went to an audition. I think I was at like a Wicked call or something like that, but they were having auditions in the next room for maybe like a film thing. I don't really know what it was, but I remember I saw one of my Disney idols at that audition and I was like, what the fuck is he doing here? This does not seem like the place for someone who actually has been on TV and they're like Disney famous. But I saw him and I decided to say hi. I was like, hey, I just want to say hi because I was a fan of your work growing up and I just wanted to acknowledge you for that. And I don't know if I said it in those exact words, but, and by the way, high five little Andrea, young adult Andrea, for speaking up to a Disney celebrity when I was like completely socially anxious. I can't believe I did that actually. That's kind of badass of me, but I did because I had a crush on him when I was little and I was like, I'm about to talk to him because I would never forgive myself if I didn't. But anyway, so I talked to him and I was like, yeah, it's really cool to see you here, like doing this work and like auditioning. And he was like, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. You think that you make it big and then you never have to audition again, but it's not true. You actually have to keep auditioning, which kind of blew my mind at the time, but it's true. I mean, unless you are an A-list celebrity, like you're Brad Pitt or like, I don't know, Angelina Jolie or somebody like that, the couple, power couple, you kind of you have to keep auditioning for things. And so it never really goes away. So you kind of have to get good at this, is what I'm trying to say. From the words of, I'm not going to tell you who it was, but from the words of the Disney celeb themselves, you have to keep auditioning. You have to keep showing up, and which means you have to keep being a business person. Another way that helped me to really shift into this perspective is thinking that there are two sides to my profession. There's the artistic side, and then there's the business side. Otherwise, I don't make money. So I have to focus on the artistic side, which obviously is very important. It's the craft. But then I also have to focus on the business side. And if I don't focus on the business side, then I'm just going to be broke. So it's kind of important. I wanted to define for you, I think thinking of the definition of business will really help you to solidify this way of thinking, because it's kind of obvious when you think about it. The definition of business, which is a noun, is the activity of buying and selling commodities, products, or services. So when you think about art, you can think of art as a product or a service or a commodity, right? And business is the activity of actually putting yourself out there and selling that. So when you think of business mindset, the way that I would define that are any skills, or sorry, any way of thinking, any set of beliefs that determine the quality and quantity of activity of buying and selling commodities and products or services. So it's the way that you think that determines how much and how well you do the activity of buying and selling your products and services. So there's the skill of business, and then there's the mindset, which is those set of beliefs. And we're going to talk about both as we go through this process, the skill of doing business. And we're also going to talk about business mindset. But today I want to focus in on business mindset because it's kind of hard to have a good set of skills if you don't have the mindset for it. They kind of go hand in hand. And when I think about business mindset, I think of there being a quote unquote bad business mindset or not helpful business mindset, and also a good business mindset or a helpful business mindset. And having a bad business mindset just means that you have a set of beliefs that makes you not so good at the activity of buying and selling your services or product. Or another way of saying that is it doesn't produce, like the set of beliefs that you have about business doesn't produce the ideal quality or quantity of buying and selling activity. But if you have a good business mindset, then you have a set of beliefs that produces the ideal quality or quantity of buying and selling activity, right? It makes you good at the activity of business. This is all really, really easy to understand, right? But the reason I'm defining it is because it helps us to think about it in this way so that we can change our way of thinking. Let me break it down in this way. When you have a set of beliefs, those beliefs inform how you feel on the inside. And when you are feeling a certain way on the inside, it will naturally inspire you to take a certain kind of action. And when I say inspire you to take a certain kind of action, inspire always sounds like a good word, but it's not always the case. Sometimes it inspires you to take an action that is completely counterproductive to what you want to be doing, or what you want to be creating in your life or in your career. So there are some thoughts you'll have that'll make you feel really, really terrible about the business of performing or the business of art. And because it makes you feel terrible, it'll make you do things like not show up to auditions, not redo your resume, not tell people that you're an artist, not go out and network, right? We talked about that on the last episode. If you have bad thoughts about networking or bad thoughts about showing up and sharing your work, you're likely gonna not do it, or you're not gonna do it very well. Versus if you have great thoughts about the business, like, I love adding to my resume, you're more likely going to update your resume more frequently, right? Versus if you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is so tedious, you're probably going to dread doing it and you're going to put it off and it might not get done. And if it does get done, it's going to be at the last minute, or maybe, I don't know, maybe you don't even do it. I mean, I've had bad thoughts about my website for a long time, which I'm working on, but because I have bad thoughts about my website, I don't really update it very much. I am now, because I'm working on my mindset around my website, but it was like years where I literally didn't put a single thing on it. And that was not helpful. I started telling people that I didn't have a website because I never updated it. But people have these thoughts about every part of business, like showing up and auditioning. Like, if you have bad thoughts about auditioning, that's not helpful at all. And we've talked about this before. So let's talk about common beliefs, set of beliefs, specifically to do with like business or selling, that are not super helpful versus good beliefs that are super helpful when it comes to building your career as an artist. Here are some really common ones. Networking is awful or icky or inauthentic. Selling is bad. Promoting myself is bad. Promoting myself is bragging. Promoting myself is fake. Auditioning is stressful, or auditioning makes me anxious. I guess that can sort of be an experience based off your thoughts, but sometimes even having the thought that auditioning makes you anxious and makes you stressed. It makes you scared. So that can be a hard thought to have about business. Business people are slimy, or selling is slimy, or promoting myself is slimy. People who make a lot of money are bad people. This one is a really important one. Checking your money thoughts. That's kind of its own topic, but like it goes into business, but checking your money thoughts is going to be really enlightening for you around the topic of business, doing business as an artist. If you think that making a lot of money, which a lot of artists do, is bad, it's likely going to lead to you not making a lot of money or sabotaging the money that you do make. So check on those. Here are some common business thoughts that are actually really, really helpful. Selling is a service. Promoting myself is connecting with people. Sharing my art is helpful to the world. Auditioning is really fun. Business is really fun. Networking is my opportunity to connect with people. Networking is my opportunity to share amazing art with people. What was the one that I did? Oh, we talked about money. Making a lot of money helps me to show up better in the world. Making a lot of money helps me to serve the world. Making a lot of money with my art is an inspiration to other people. These are all thoughts that likely make you feel good about doing business as an artist. So it will likely make you more inspired to show up and promote your work, do better work, make money as an artist, sell your art, promote your art, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I want you to think about what are some other thoughts that might be helpful to have as a business artist, artistic business person. What do we want to call this? A business artist? No. An artist business person. I'm going to think about it. What are some thoughts that might be good to have, that might make you feel really good, that might have you showing up and doing excellent business as an artist? And what are some thoughts that might not be so helpful that we haven't already talked about? And then I want you to find your set of beliefs that you already have about business and notice the impact that they're having. So start off by just doing a thought download, a thought dump, whatever you like to call it, about any of the topics around business. And here are some that are super common and that might help jog your stream of consciousness. Do a thought download about auditions if you're a performer. Do a thought download about callbacks if you're a performer. And if you're a visual artist, I guess it might be something like, honestly, I don't remember the lingo for it. When you talk to an art director and promote your work, you know what I'm talking about. You know the terms for your career. Do it a thought download about resumes or CVs, about actually getting an offer, booking jobs, casting notices. This is a good one. Do a thought download about receiving a callback or an offer today. That's a good one. Like if I said to you, you have to get a callback or an offer today, or you will be receiving a callback and offer today, what would be going through your mind? Do a thought download about booking your dream role. Do a thought download about the highest rate you've ever received as an artist. And then do a separate thought download, adding $1,000 per week to that salary, and think about booking a job at that rate. What would that thought download be like? And just dump out all the thoughts that come up for you around networking, selling, business as an artist, offering people your work. If you're a freelancer and you don't really go out and get job offers, you actually are the one offering your work. Do a thought download about all of that. Then I want you to go through and pick one to start with, but maybe top 2 or 3 main thoughts off the thought download, whatever stands out to you, honestly. And I want you to journal the feelings that come up around that. And what I like to do is when I'm first starting off with analyzing my thoughts is I like to start with the main feeling that goes with each thought. So I'll pick a thought from a thought download, and whatever my most prominent feeling is, I'll just start with that. It just keeps it so simple to see the impact of your thinking. And then from that feeling, what actions naturally would arise out of that? Like if you were to go out and act from that feeling and that thought right now, what would you do? What are you inspired to do? What would you not do? That's super important to see. And then I want you to think about what happens for you if you were to think and feel that on a daily basis as you go throughout your week. What happens when you show up at auditions with that thought? What happens when you talk to just people that you meet out and about in the world and you talk about yourself as an artist when you have that thought and that feeling? What happens when you are actually on the job and you have that thought and feeling about business or being an artist that does business? After you have sketched out all of the actions that come from that, I want you to just look over the entire, I call it a model. That's what I got trained to call it. The model, which is the thought, feeling, and action combo. Look over that entire thing and just contemplate, what do you think the overall result is when you are in that model? And I'll give you an example. So I used to have the thought that making money as an artist is not, or I want to be really specific about this because I think this is a common one, and like it was very impactful for me when I had it and also when I found it. Something like making less money as an artist is more noble. That's like the summary of the thought. Something like it had to do with like commercial art or something like that. For some reason, I thought that wasn't as good as doing like underground, like, I don't know, like regional theater or like not community theater, but just like lower paying art that was just like newer and edgy. I thought that somehow that was better than doing like commercial work, and that I was a better artist because I did work like that. And because I had thoughts like that, when I would think that and show up in the world as an artist, I would feel, or let's specifically talk about when I was promoting myself as an artist, I would feel kind of like disconnected from the auditions that I would go to that were more commercial. And because I was disconnected, I wouldn't actually put my heart and soul into what I was doing. So let's say I went to a Broadway audition, I wouldn't actually like feel the music. I wouldn't put any effort into connecting with it. I would kind of look down on it. I would show up and not really connect with the people who were putting on the audition. And I wouldn't put as much preparation into it. And so I would actually repel those projects. And what would happen was I would create the result that I basically only did that work that didn't pay me very well. So that's kind of the result that I created from that specific thought. So I want you to do the same thing with whatever thought that you chose. What's the overall result that you picked for yourself? Most likely what you're going to find if you really, really sketch it out is many times what you'll create is you'll prove the thought true that's in your T line. You'll prove to yourself, like I proved to myself, well, obviously this is better work because I'm an artist and they're not really seeing me as an artist and they only want commercial, they only want celebrity. So they're not really looking for good artists. I would prove that to myself, which is obviously bullshit because there are phenomenal people who perform on Broadway and there's phenomenal work being done on Broadway, right? You may not have a taste for some of the commercial work that's done there, but you can't deny that there's talented people on there and that there's some great works going on. So I would kind of prove that to myself and my little snooty attitude. I was not as mature as I am now. So, but I would kind of prove to myself that like somehow this work was better because it attracted real artists. And I just felt myself as like this bleeding heart artist, but I'm over that now because there's great work being done. And also you got to make money as an artist. So whatever. Anyway, do that for the thoughts that you find. Then I want you to go through your journal and sketch and just like reflect over the thoughts that you have and take a note of which beliefs are not helping you. And this will be really, really clear when you model it out, but you can just kind of see and you can kind of feel when you look through the thoughts, which beliefs are not helping you very much. And then just take note of which ones are helping you. And notice what it would be like if you gave 30% more of your focus to the thoughts that are helping you. So that doesn't mean that you necessarily would be changing how you're thinking right away. But what if you just focus more on the thoughts like, let's say you have a thought like networking is not fun, but you also have a thought that when you go out to social events with people you know, you enjoy yourself a lot more. What if you focus on that thought more? Would you show up to more social events? Would you figure out a way to make social events more enjoyable? Maybe say like inviting friends to go out to more networking events with you so that you enjoyed yourself more. Would you make an effort to get to know more people in the industry so that when you showed up at networking events, you had more fun? Like, what would that reality be like for you if you just focused on the thoughts that were more helpful? And then after you've done that, look at the beliefs that aren't helpful. And then just take a think and a guesstimation on what would it be like, or what would you like to believe instead? Like what thoughts would be more helpful for you to believe instead and would feel better and have you showing up in the way that you want to, and create a result for your career that is more in line with what you had envisioned. I want to point out that even if you only focus on that second to last question, focusing 30% more on the thoughts that are helpful, I guarantee you'll have a lot more fun doing business as an artist, and it would be easier for you and you get a lot better results. But if you're a person who wants to start shifting some of those beliefs that aren't helpful, I highly encourage you to reach out to me and have a conversation with me and see what it would be like for us to work together so that we can start shifting some of those beliefs. I'll give you a couple of tips right now that simply just practicing thoughts that feel a little bit better and that are believable, just like we talked about in the last month's episodes, thoughts that are believable but feel a little bit better and inspire you into more of the action you want. practicing those more frequently and then working your way there to the thoughts that ultimately you want to be believing is going to make a world of difference. But if you want to do that a lot faster, you want help finding some of those thoughts, you want help shifting some of those beliefs, then reach out to me on my Instagram. If you go to my link tree, it'll have a link to my calendar where you can book a consultation. That's completely free for you. So you get to reach out and we could just have a chat, see what it would be like to work together. And I'll even take you through finding some of these thoughts if you have trouble finding some of your own beliefs and helping you to kind of create a sketch of your new belief plan and your new way of thinking. And I'll tell you how to bridge that gap. So that's available to you. And it's available on my link tree on my Instagram. Until then, I have had fun having this conversation with you. I am so excited to talk more about business as an artist with you in coming episodes. And I think the next one that we're going to be talking about is booking math. The math of booking jobs so that it becomes so much easier for you. You don't have to be in the dark about when your next job is coming or how many jobs you're going to get in a year, because you're going to know, because it's actually a lot simpler than you think, because it's all just mathematics. Okay. I will see you in the next episode. Bye.